Love, it begins so softly, a glance, a smile, a quiet promise that grows stronger with time. Years pass and suddenly love is in everything, in the way they hold your hand, in the way they laugh from the kitchen, in the way silence feels safe when they're beside you. But what happens when love has to say goodbye? Not because it wants to, but because life, in all its beauty and cruelty, takes them away. You're left with 1,000 memories and one empty chair. A heart still full, but with no one left to give it to. This is not the end of your story. It's a new chapter, unfamiliar, painful, but not without hope. In this quiet season of grief, there are still gentle ways to stay strong, to keep breathing, to keep loving, and slowly to begin again. Here are 7 soft paths for the heart that mourns, the soul that remembers, and the love that never truly fades. 7 gentle ways to stay strong after losing the one you cherish. 7 gentle ways to stay strong after losing the one you cherish. Number 1. Accept that grief is love with nowhere to go. There's a moment, quiet and heavy, when the world continues to turn, but yours doesn't. You wake up and the space beside you is colder than it used to be. Not just the bed, but the silence. The morning light hits differently now. And you realize you're still here, but they're not. That's grief. But grief isn't just pain. It's not simply sadness or the feeling of being broken. Grief is love. A fierce, unrelenting kind of love that has nowhere else to go. It used to go into morning kisses, into warm cups of coffee made just the way they liked it, into late-night talks, shared glances, small laughter only the two of you understood. But now that love is searching for hands that won't reach back, for eyes that won't meet yours, for a voice you still hear when everything else is quiet. And it hurts so much, because the love didn't end, only the presence did. Psychologists call it the grieving process. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. 5 stages, but they don't come in order, and they never come just once. Some days you'll laugh at an old photo, and the next you'll cry at a song on the radio. And that's okay. You're not crazy. You're not too emotional. You're not taking too long to move on. You're human. And grief, real grief, especially after deep love, doesn't follow a schedule. It follows your heart. It echoes your bond. Because you didn't lose a person. You lost a piece of your world. So let the tears fall without apology. Let the ache rise without shame. It's not weakness. It's remembrance. It's the soul adjusting to life without someone it was never prepared to lose. And one day you'll breathe a little easier. Not because the grief is gone, but because you've learned to carry it with grace. So no, you don't get over this. You walk through it, slowly, gently, one memory at a time. And that's where strength is born. In every shaky breath, every whispered, "I miss you," every step forward, taken with love that never really left. Because grief is love's way of holding on when the world says to let go. 2. Creating a new life with a renewed purpose. There is a moment after loss. A stillness so deep it echoes. You wake up and the silence is louder than any sound you've ever known. No footsteps in the hallway. No hum of their favorite song. Just absence. And the question that comes, uninvited but honest, what am I supposed to do now? You see, psychologists have long studied what happens to us when we lose someone we love. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, once said, "Life is never made unbearable by circumstances, but only by lack of meaning and purpose." And that is the core of what we face in grief. Not just the weight of pain, but the heavy, aching question of meaning. We are meaning-making creatures. And when love is taken from us, we must gently, patiently rediscover why we are still here. But let me tell you this, your purpose didn't leave with the one you lost. It may be buried for a while, sleeping beneath the grief, but it's still there, waiting for you to notice it again. It won't come with trumpets. It might come with a whisper, like the gentle nudge to take a walk at sunrise, to bake that old recipe for the neighbor next door, to read a book out loud to your grandchild and feel, for a moment, that warm flicker of connection. Sometimes purpose isn't grand or loud. Sometimes it's just showing up, breathing, being present. And when you begin to engage with life again, even in the smallest ways, you're not betraying the one you lost. You're honoring them. This is what post-traumatic growth is about. It's a concept in psychology that shows how, after trauma, some people don't just survive, they find a deeper appreciation for life, a renewed sense of strength, a richer sense of connection with others. Not in spite of the pain, but through it. So what might your purpose look like now? Maybe it's in the laughter you share with someone who thought they'd never laugh again. Maybe it's in the quiet advice you give, drawn from the depth of all you've endured. Maybe it's simply being a witness to love that was real. Because just by living fully, honestly, and gently, you become a keeper of that love's legacy. Your life is not over. It has changed, yes, but it is still yours to shape. So take your time. Let the ache become a companion, not a jailer. Let the memories guide you, not trap you. And begin, little by little, to build a life that holds both sorrow and sunlight. You have more to give, more to live. And in this new chapter, no matter how different it feels, purpose can still bloom, softly, quietly, and beautifully. Let me know if you're ready for point 3, and I'll continue with the same depth and poetic rhythm. 3. The healing power of community and connection. There's a certain kind of loneliness that visits after loss, a quiet shadow that follows you even in a crowded room. It's not just about being alone. It's about feeling unseen, as if the one person who truly understood you is no longer here to call your name in the way only they could. And in that silence, many begin to believe a dangerous lie. I should be strong enough to handle this alone. But, dear listener, we were never designed to grieve in isolation. We are wired from birth, from biology, from soul, for connection. Psychologists call it social buffering. It's the way human connection can soften the blow of emotional pain. When we speak our sorrow aloud to someone who listens with empathy, our brain begins to heal. The weight becomes lighter, not because the grief is gone, but because it's now held together. And in the golden years of life, community becomes even more vital. Not just as a remedy for loneliness, but as a mirror that reminds us you still belong. You are still loved. You are still needed. Your story matters. Your voice matters. Even in your quietest moments, perhaps you haven't felt that in a long time. Perhaps friends have drifted away, or the world feels too fast, too unfamiliar. But community doesn't have to be big to be meaningful. Sometimes it's the neighbor who checks in with warm tea. Sometimes it's a support group where no one needs to explain their tears. Sometimes it's an online space where strangers become kindred spirits through shared pain and gentle words. Every time you choose to speak instead of hide, every time you let someone walk beside you, even if just for a few minutes, you're taking a powerful step toward healing. Psychologist Carl Rogers once said, when someone really hears you without passing judgment, without trying to take responsibility for you, it feels damn good. And it does. It heals in ways no medicine can. So don't be afraid to reach out. Not because you are weak, but because you are human. There is strength in vulnerability. There is courage in saying, I miss them. I'm hurting. I don't want to go through this alone. Because the truth is, you don't have to. Somewhere out there, someone is also grieving. Someone is also searching for a hand to hold, a voice to trust, a heart that understands. And when two wounded souls meet with kindness, healing begins. So join that group. Send that message. Sit beside that friend, even in silence. And let the quiet miracle of connection remind you that love still lives, not just in the past, but right here, in the people who choose to sit with your sorrow and stay. 4. Turning memories into a source of strength. Some say time heals all wounds, but those who have truly loved and truly lost know it's not that simple. Time may soften the sharpest edges, but the ache, it lingers. In the quiet hours, in the familiar smell of old shirts tucked in drawers, in the way the light hits the corner of the room where they used to sit. Memories in the beginning can feel like ghosts, uninvited, overwhelming. They arrive like waves, sudden, powerful, leaving you breathless in the middle of an ordinary day. You might find yourself avoiding them, closing doors to rooms filled with echoes, tucking away photos, because even the sweetest memory can carry the sharpest sting. But what if I told you that those very memories can become your medicine? In psychology, there's something called meaning reconstruction. It's the process of reshaping the way we carry our loss. We don't erase the memory. We transform its role in our life. Because the truth is, you don't need to move on. You can move forward with the memory beside you, not behind you. And it begins with the smallest acts. Write their name in your journal, not because they are gone, but because they lived, and they loved you. Tell their stories at the dinner table. Speak of their quirks, their laugh, the way they made your coffee just right. These aren't just memories. They are footprints, proof that something beautiful once walked beside you. Create rituals if you like. Light a candle every Sunday. Play their favorite song on quiet mornings. Visit their favorite spot and sit with them in your heart. You see, memory isn't about staying stuck. It's about staying connected. Even in therapy, psychologists encourage something called continuing bonds. It's not letting go. It's holding on differently, healthier, lovingly, without the torment, but with tenderness. Because your love for them didn't end. It simply changed form. It lives now in your actions, your words, your growth. So when a memory comes, don't run. Pause. Let it in. Let it remind you that your heart, though bruised, is still capable of remembering beauty. You are not broken for missing them. You are human, and every time you choose to carry a memory with grace, Rather than grief, you are turning pain into power. You are turning remembrance into resilience. Let your memories be not a cage, but a companion. Not a weight, but a light. Because love like that doesn't die. It lives on in you. 5. Caring for yourself as an act of love toward the one who's gone. There's a strange guilt that often sneaks in after loss. It arrives quietly, when you laugh for the first time in weeks. When you find yourself enjoying a cup of tea or watching the sunset without crying, and suddenly you question it. Am I allowed to feel okay? What does it say about me if life moves forward? This is what psychologists call survivor's guilt. A silent, invisible weight that tells us, if they're not here, how dare I still find joy? But here's the truth, your healing is not a betrayal. It is a tribute. Every breath you take now, every act of kindness you give to yourself, every day you choose not to disappear into sorrow, is a quiet love letter to the one you lost. You see, caring for yourself is not selfish. It's sacred. Your body, your mind, your spirit, they are still here. They carry the echo of the one you loved. They carry the memories, the laughter, the tears. They carry their legacy. And what better way to honor that legacy than to keep living with intention? Make that doctor's appointment, not just because it's needed, but because they would have wanted you well. Take that slow walk in the morning sun. Not to pass the time, but to remind yourself the world is still beautiful and so are you even in your pain. Eat well, rest when you're tired. Speak kindly to yourself, especially on the days that feel impossible. Because the voice of grief is already heavy. You don't need your own voice adding more weight. Psychology calls this self-compassion. It's the radical act of treating yourself with the same tenderness you would offer a dear friend, or the same tenderness your loved one once gave to you. They wouldn't want your world to end. They wouldn't want your smile to fade forever. They loved you fully, truly, and without condition. So let that love live on in the way you care for yourself now. Let your life be a continuation of their love story, not its ending. Water the plants they once loved. Dance to the songs you used to sing together. Write letters to them when the night feels long. And in doing so, you'll find that they never truly left, because they are there. In every moment you choose gentleness over guilt. In every effort to survive with grace. In every breath you take that whispers, I am still here, and I am still loving you, by learning how to love myself. 6. Opening your heart to love in a new form. There is a moment in grief that feels like betrayal, not because you've done anything wrong, but because your heart begins to feel again. A breeze feels soft on your skin. A kind smile from a stranger lingers a little longer. You hear laughter and realize it came from your own lips. And in that moment, guilt quietly knocks. Am I moving on too fast? Does this mean I'm forgetting them? What does it mean to feel love again? But hear this gently, love is not a betrayal. It is not a replacement. And it certainly isn't limited to romance. In psychology, there is a beautiful idea called attachment adaptation. It means that even after the loss of someone deeply loved, our capacity to connect, to bond, to give and receive love does not vanish. It simply shifts. You are not replacing anyone. You are growing. Love can return in many forms. It may not come as a partner, and it doesn't have to. It may come as friendship, as the joy of a grandchild's laughter, as a pet curling up beside you in silence, as the fulfillment of giving, of serving, of being present for others. Love might return through creativity, in painting, in music, in writing the words your heart couldn't say before. It may come in moments of shared grief with someone else, where two wounded souls recognize each other and say without words, I know that pain too. And one day, maybe not today, maybe not for a long time, love may even come through another person who does not ask you to forget the past, but chooses to sit beside it with you. That too is love, gentle, respectful, healing. Psychologist John Bowlby said, the capacity to love and be loved continues throughout life, even in sorrow, even in the aftermath of goodbye. So no, you are not wrong for loving again. You are brave, because to love again in any form is to risk again. To open the heart that was once shattered and say, I am still willing to feel. You carry the love of the one you lost not as a burden, but as a blessing, a sacred part of you that makes every new connection more meaningful. So welcome love back when it arrives. In small ways, in unexpected faces, in quiet moments when you feel warmth and know that life is not done giving. Because your heart, though changed, is still beating, still open, still capable of receiving love in all its beautiful forms. 7. When time heals, walking with grief, not against it. Time doesn't heal all wounds, but it does teach us to live with them. You see, grief doesn't have an expiration date. It's not something we get over. It's something we learn to carry gently until it becomes a part of who we are. As the days and months go by, grief doesn't vanish, it softens. It changes shape, evolving from raw pain into quiet remembrance. There will be days when it feels heavy, when the absence seems unbearable. But there will also be days when you smile, without guilt, when you remember them and feel peace, not sorrow. This is healing. Not moving on, but moving forward, walking alongside your grief, honoring it as a part of your journey. Psychologists call this integration. It's about learning to live with grief, not as something to be defeated, but as something that shows you how deeply you love, as something that connects you to the person you lost, but also to the person you are becoming. So take your time. Be kind to yourself. Let the pain come and go as it pleases, and remember that you don't have to rush your healing. And to those of you watching, how has your journey with grief evolved? Do you feel like you've learned to walk with it instead of against it? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please share in the comments below. We're all here to support one another. And remember, you are not alone. Your grief is a testament to the love you've shared, and with time you will find new ways to live with it, to grow with it, and to find peace within it. And so, dear one, as you walk this journey of grief, remember, you are not alone. You are loved, you are strong, and your story is still unfolding. Take your time, embrace the memories, and allow love to find its new form in you, in the world around you, in the people who need your light. If you found comfort or strength in this video, I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. What part of this journey resonated with you? Have you found new ways to heal, to remember, or to love again? Let's support each other, because together we walk this path with open hearts. If you haven't already, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that more stories like this can be heard. And remember, you are not alone on this journey. You are seen, you are heard, and your healing matters.